Dear participants, today I will evaluate the reflections of the ecological and moral message found. I must show my video. I am so sorry, not problem. Message found in the stories of ants in the Torah and the Qur'an on historical traditions and contemporary life. During this evaluation, I will address the following fundamental questions. Sorry. How does the ant, presented not as a passive resource but as a conscious being capable of communication, contribute to the human redefinition of nature? What insights do these parables provide for questioning humanity's role in the current ecological crisis and strengthening the sense of responsibility? To what extent do the virtues of diligence and solidarity observed in ants align with the environmental awareness promoted by sacred text? While answering this question, I will truthfully address the examples we have drawn from Jewish and Islamic exegetical traditions, in addition to the Torah and the Quran. However, I would first like to briefly touch on the scientific characteristic of ants. Ants are among nature's most effective engineers and environmental regulators. Through the tunnel systems they build underground, they aerate the soil and facilitate the access of water and nutrients to plant roots. Additionally, by feeding on organic waste and dead animals, they assume a decomposer role in nature, thus contributing to environmental cleanliness. Some ant species help plants separate and reproduce by carrying seeds to their nest. With this characteristic, ants are indispensable creatures for the sustainability of ecosystems. When we look at the Torah, we encounter the ant in the two places in the book of Proverbs of the Solomon. Proverbs 6, go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider its ways and be wise. It has no commander, no overseer, no ruler, yet it stores its provisions in summer. Proverbs 30, four things on earth are small, yet they are extremely wise. Ants are creatures of little strength, yet they store up their food in the summer. The 6 chapters, verses 6 to 8 of the book of Proverbs of Solomon have been interpreted in Devarim Rabbah as follows. Why did Solomon consider the ant suitable to teach a lesson to the sluggard? The Rabbi said, the ant has 3 dwellings. It does not store food in the upper one because water might seep in, nor does it store in the lower one because of the moisture in the soil. So it stores food only in the middle one. An ant lives only 6 months. Why? Because a character without a nervous system and bones, a character can live no longer than 6 months. Through this its life, an ant needs only 1.5 grains of wheat. Yet, through this its summer, it gathers everything it finds: wheat, barley, and lentils. Rabbi Tanhuma says it needs only 1.5 grains of wheat for its life, yet it still collects all of this. Why does it do so? Because it thinks perhaps the Holy One, it means God, may decree a longer life for me, and so I must be prepared. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai narrates, once in an ant's nest 300 cores, a large amount of food gathered from summer to winter, were found. For this reason, Solomon said, you sluggard, go observe the ant, consider its ways, and become wise. You too shall prepare it in this world for the world to come, mitzvot. It means good deeds. Observe its ways and become wise. What does this mean? The Rabbi said, look at the noble behavior it demonstrates in das tale. Rabbi Shimon bin Chalafta gives the following example. One day, an ant dropped the grain of wheat. All the other ants came and smelled it, but none of them took it. The ant that had originally owned the grain returned and took its own. It did not learn this behavior from another creature. They have not judge or ruler. As it is written, it has no commander, no overseer, and no ruler. But you, I appointed judges and officials over you, so you should be even more obedient to their words. They were in Rabbah 5 and 2. In Midrash Mishlei, the interpretation of this verse is given as follows. You solid girl, go to the ant. Rabbi Yehuda ben Padia said, one day the wicked will come before the Hell One and say, O Lord of the universe, give us a little more time and we will repent before you. The Holy One will reply, fools of the world. The world you are in now is like the eve of Shabbat. The place to come is like Shabbat itself. If you do not prepare on the eve of Shabbat, what will you eat on Shabbat? Another parable. The world you are in now is like the entrance of a house. The real world is like the inner part of the house. If you don't prepare at the entrance to open the door, how will you benefit from what's inside? It also explained with another parable too. The world you are currently in is like being on land, but the true world is like being in the middle of the sea. If you do not prepare while on land, how will you survive at sea? Yet another parable. The world you are in now is like a sunny and warm day, but the real world is like a time of heavy rain. If you did not sow, reap, and harvest during the sunny weather, how will you survive in the rainy days? In the Mishrat Mishlei 6 and 2. From these interpretations, we understand that the figure of the ant in verses 6 to 8 of chapter 6 of the book of Proverbs has been interpreted by Jewish scholars through a mystical lens. Jewish exegetes present the ant as an example to humans, an animal that, despite having no leader, tends toward goodness, refrains from theft, and works to gather food even though it lives only for a short span of 6 months. They urge people to be like ants, to avoid evil in this world and strive only to accumulate merit, is mean good deeds. And the interpretation of verses 24 and 25 in chapter of 30 of the book of Proverbs is given as follows in Midrash Mishlei. First, there are 4 things on earth that are small, but they are exceedingly wise. This refers to various empires and kingdoms. Ants are a people not strong, yet they prepare their food in the summer. This is seen as referring to the Babylonian Empire. For it is written, behold the land of the Chaldeans. This people was no more. Assyria founded it for shipment. They raised up its towers. Isaiah and Midrash Mishlei, we can see this. In Midrash Tanshuma, Shir Hashirim Rabbah, and Vayikra Rabbah, attempts have been made to interpret this verse through different verses rather than directly basing it on the original one. Due to the complexity of these verses and their interpretations, I am so sorry, I'm not including them in my speech right now. However, in these commentaries, the ant is portrayed as a small yet significant and powerful character. This portrayal may have been intended to convey a political message of power to other nations. The responses these verses from the Torah offer the ecological issues can be summarized as follows. Nature is not an object to concrete, but a moral and social pattern. While benefiting from nature and the world, humans should not use resources irresponsibly. They must act with consideration for the future. And like ants, humans should work collectively and produce with nature at the center. In the Quran, the word ant is used as the name of chapter, and within this chapter, the ant appears in the story of people of Prophet Solomon. This story is narrated in Surah An-Naml. It means the ant as follows. When they came upon the valley of the ants, an ant said, O ants, enter your homes, so that Solomon and his army do not crush you unknowingly. Solomon smiled at her words and said, My Lord, enable me to be grateful for the favor you have bestowed upon me and my parents, and to the righteous deeds that please you, and admit me by your mercy into the ranks of your righteous servants. Al-Kushairi explains these words in his work through three main points. According to a narration in the conversation between Prophet Solomon and the ant explains why it warned the other ants. I am calling my people to be distant from the world life. When they saw you, I feared they might become attached to world life. The ant says to Solomon this way, actually. This explanation by the ants is seen in Sufi sense as a step toward protecting spirituality. The ant's act of leadership in warning the other serves as an example of the responsibility a ruler must show toward all beings, living or non-living, under their authority. Notably, the use of a feminine word to describe the leading ant in words shows that the leader of the ants is female. The final commentary mentioned in Kushairi's tafsir is a warning from the leader and to Prophet Solomon. The wind that has been given to you is a fleeting blessing. You must recognize this. In addition to this narration, other reports say the leader ants did not warn Solomon directly. Instead, when Solomon heard the ant warning the others, he responded humbly, No, my kingdom is temporary. My world life is limited, but the happiness through brought by a single word of Tawhid is eternal. The contemporary exegetes Nejd Ardach approaches this verse not as a mere dialogue, but from a panoramic perspective. According to him, Prophet Solomon's march with his army across a vast plain represents not just a bicycle journey through space, but a metaphorical journey inward, a spiritual introspection. The ants moving together on this path symbolize the harmonious motion of the multifaceted divine names that reside within the human soul. The exegete interprets the leader ant's warning to the others as a thing that one must be mindful of protecting their inner self and mental peace during the spiritual journey. Solomon's smile and his expression of gratitude to God are seen as proof of his awareness of the moral and social responsibility he bears as both a king and a prophet. The ant history mentioned in the Qur'an laid the foundation for the development of an ant culture in Islamic society. Indeed, in Turkish Islamic literature, this story has been elaborated and enriched from a Sufi perspective and has also led to significant rules in Islamic jurisprudence conquering animal rights. For example, Sultan Süleyman the Magnificent, the 10th Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, decided that the trees in the palace garden were being damaged by ants. Seeking permission to use pesticides, he sent the following couplet to the Sheikh al-Islam of the time, Abu Suud Efendi, hoping for a favorable fatwa. I will read Turkish and English each other. Dırahta ger ziyan etse karınca, zararı var mıdır anı kırınca? If ants harm a tree, is it sinful to kill them? Abu Suud Efendi responded with this couplet, effectively issuing a fatwa against killing the ants with poison. Yarın hakkın divanına varınca, Süleyman'dan hakkın alır karınca. Is mean, when you stand before God's court tomorrow, the ant will claim its right from Solomon. So, as a result of this fatwa, Sultan Süleyman gave up the pesticides treatment. This ruling stands as a profound lesson showing that even a sultan bears responsibility for animals and that a ruler must act with care and justice in maintaining both his people and his lands. The element of the anti-Islamic in Islamic tradition appears not only fatwas but also on a societal level. The belief that stepping on ants is a sin, and the practice of displaying the ant prayer is mean karınca duası in homes, cars, and workplaces for blessing, success, and protection are explains of this cultural tradition. The story of the ant in Qur'an offers the following teachings to humanity in terms of environmental awareness and protection. Nature and the characters within it are not passive beings. There is always a material and spiritual connection between nature and human beings. This material and spiritual relationship between nature and humans must be maintained in balance. Humans should not be greedy in their material dealings with nature. By reflecting on their relationship with nature, humans should also resist their relationship with other people and uphold a moral order in society. Although small in appearance, the ant plays a critical role in the cycle of nature. In this context, the ant is regarded as a scientifically significant character and also finds a place in divine sources. In this study, the ant has been examined through the figure of Prophet Solomon in both the Torah and the Quran. While the Torah adopts a didactic approach, the Quran presents the ant within a narrative ismin qissa. In the Torah, the ant represents a group without a leader, whereas in the Quran, ants are shown moving under the leadership of a female ant. While the Torah presents the ant with political and mystical intentions, it does not have a direct reflections in Jewish tradition. On the other hand, the ant story in the Quran has extensive reflections in Islamic tradition, spirituality, in poetry, jurisprudence, daily life, and society. So, both divine texts emphasize that humans have a deep connection with nature and that protecting one's inner self, community, and future is rooted in protecting nature. According to the Torah and the Quran, the more humans protect, value, and care for nature, whether ordinary individuals or rulers, the closer they come to inner peace. Thank you so much for listening to me. I am so sorry I can't speak English very well. So if you have any question, you can write to me from this my email addresses. Thank you so much second time.